Welcome everyone to VR Jungle Havoc podcast. This is your host Gerald C. And today we're talking about mini golf, which is I think everyone's favorite pastime. I think everyone in this world has probably gone mini golfing at some point in their life. But here with us from WalkAbout Mini Golf is Edward. And Edward, if you want to take over and say what you do for the company and talk about the game.
Sure thing. Yeah. So I'm Edward. I currently work at Mighty Coconut on Walkabout Mini Golf. I am generally an environment artist, so I do a whole bunch of the 3D modeling. I will get given a blockout, which is a basic version of a level, and then it's my job to make it look pretty and make it look lived in and wonderful. Also, some of the other fun things I get to do is make all the putters and the lost balls, which I refuse to give up. It's just my favorite thing to do. So that's me, at least in my relation to Walkabout Mini Golf.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So you just get like pretty much a grayscale or something, right? And whatever you're designing, and you make it all pretty. Basically, is what you said, right?
Yeah, pretty much. We've actually got some really awesome artists involved, including the guy who does a lot of the grayscales.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't do them in grayscale. He'll often like really work and get the feeling right, and so building up from it is really so much easier than some other sort of environment, what other environment artists might have to deal with. We get a really good view of how it should all look holistically, and then I really get in and get all those details in. So building walls and making it just feel, I don't want to say real, because it's definitely got an art style, but make it feel solid.
Yeah, and so do all courses from each other all blend into some formality of an art style? I know they all have different, like Western or like futuristic, but they're all based off of the same type of look and feel, correct?
Yeah, we've really got it down to, well, quite an art form in terms of figuring out how to make things feel like they're in the Walkabout Mini Golf extended universe. Coming to 18 cinemas near you. We've really perfected sort of ways that you get sort of little cut-in notches to make it feel like wood without a visual texture, because everything is flat colors. Occasionally we have departed from that just to experiment, like Sweetopia, our candy themed level. We really pushed in a bit of a different direction. There was still enough stuff there to feel like Walkabout, but it was almost like an alternate Walkabout, because we wanted everything to feel really soft and gooey.
Yeah.
I remember that one releasing, a lot of people going, oh my God, it's a whole new art style. And I'm just like, haha, for one level. And then we're back.
And then you're back. That's really funny. So like for mini golf, the cool thing about this game is mini golf. I think any kid has been taken to play mini golf, or even as a grown person. There's these people that actually play mini golf like on Facebook that I like to watch, where they just go all around the world to try courses, and it's like I would love to see them try out the VR stuff just because it would fit in their category. But did you have to go out and play a whole bunch of mini golf courses to kind of get a feel of mini golf, or did you just kind of use your imagination and went with it?
Well, there's definitely, I know, the main chap who figured out all the physics and all that is the head honcho, which is Lucas. And I know there was definitely a lot of research involved.
Yeah.
And it does also help, like you say, that everyone loves mini golf. So every time someone comes onto the game, joins the team, they're just like, oh yeah, mini golf. No, I know this. Don't worry, I know mini golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of research getting the physics to feel right. And trying to figure out what makes something work and what makes something not work. Because we all do know mini golf. So when you try it, you will know if it's not right.
Yeah.
It's got to feel correct, despite the fact that you aren't holding a heavy club in your hands. And, the club can phase through every object except for the ball.
Yeah.
In fact, having gone to play mini golf recently, I just went, oh my God, why is the putter so heavy? It's not as good as the fake one now. So there was a lot of practice and research in trying to get it to feel right.
Yeah.
And make it really just, make it believable and solid.
Yeah, I definitely could see that. I know the first time, and I like even playing like the mini golf is like even like playing golf in real life. I've actually improved my putting game just by like mentally seeing like how far the distances and things like that. But the cool thing is that you can go obviously to the real world, boring, get a sunburn, or you can jump into this world that you all created. And I think just like even getting the game right off the bat, you have what 18 courses to pick from without getting any of the DLCs, right?
Yeah, so we've got there are 8 courses,
Eight
but
courses,
each one has
doubled up, yeah.
hard mode. So it's like 16
Hmm.
all up, and each one's got 18 holes. And now there are Labyrinth was the 13th course, which was a lot of fun,
Hmm.
nice and evil.
Oh yeah, we'll get to talk
But
about
yeah,
that one. I got a lot to talk about that one.
there's definitely a lot to get into before, we start breaking into your wallet again.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was there's just we wanted to make sure there was just always lots and lots of stuff for people to do, and trying to be fair. So if you're playing with friends, and we didn't want it to be that, oh my god, everyone but Jeremy has the Sweetopia DLC. So if one person has it, I think it's the person hosting the room.
Hmm.
If they have the DLC, well, everyone can play.
Oh, cool.
um yeah, just wanted to make it sort of like, if you remember Mario Kart for the DS,
Yeah.
sort of a bit of a throwback. It was always, if one person had the game, you could all play. And that
Hmm.
was really important, making sure that it was just accessible so that as many people as possible could be having fun.
Yeah, yeah. That I didn't know that at all. That if one person had DLC, you could do that. And I think the coolest thing, we were talking about this before the podcast, is picking up all the hidden balls all throughout the map. You finish the courses, and I think the first time ever, like I think I had it. Luckily, I had the help mode out to where you can leave the tutorial to pop up. And I just remember looking at a ball, and I'm just like, that's kind of cool. And I was just like, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, you can actually pick that up. And I'm just like, hold on, I found a ball on one of the holes, and then I finished the course, and I see all these little boxes to fill out and a check, and I'm just like, you're telling me I can find a whole bunch of like cool golf balls and designs? That's what really intrigued me, because I went back and played the course multiple times over just to search for the ball and go into fly mode. So whose idea was that? Was that just like a way to not have to make people pay more money for cool designs, but at least have them in the actual map a lot more?
The lost golf balls have been there since the game's inception. So way before we were even thinking DLC. And before we had things like the putters, they actually came in an update, all the different putters,
Hmm.
where you had multiple colors and could unlock more by solving riddles. But the lost golf balls have always been there,
Hmm.
which has been really fun. But now I have about 600 that I have designed, and every
Wow.
time I just got to add more, add more, and add more. And for as we get further on, we're having a bit more fun doing more graphical ones,
Hmm.
uh, especially with, of course, where we're working with an IP such as Labyrinth or Mist, where doing more designed golf balls as compared to sort of some of the patterned ones you might find on other levels. But
Yeah.
there's so many, and they're all coming down the pipeline.
Oh yeah, it really blew my mind the first time I found it, and I'm a massive collector when it comes to little things like that, and so I was literally all over the place looking for the golf balls, and the cool thing about it is that some, like, you start out with the courses, and it's like it's not that hard. I like how it starts out like, hey, this is the first course to get you to play it, and then all of a sudden you get to some, like the labyrinth, or just even like the free part of it is like the space one. Wow, that one really gave me a run for my money.
Yeah, space is very, very difficult. We often it's funny, you play through levels and you get to see our learning process in terms of course design.
Hmm.
We have all these metrics and design things, and they're all fun and they're all sort of enjoyably different. But something about, say, the space station really threw people off, and it has
Yeah,
consistently been the hardest course, and I get it.
yeah.
um but also it's my favorite course because that's the first that was in this sort of brief moment of production when the team was much smaller. It was like me and like two other people, and they just gave me the block out and said, "Go, do it, have fun."
Yeah.
And obviously with feedback and all that sort of stuff. Whereas a new level, we've now got concept artists. We've got sort of our head of art direction is this chap who used to design theme parks for Disney and DreamWorks, and
Wow.
we've got this really incredible, perfectly sort of put together team. But I love the space station because art-wise, it's just what happens if you put me in a mini golf course.
Yeah,
and just let me go nuts.
Yeah, and that's what the definitely the space map alone like really showed the VR side of the capabilities of one knowing mini golf, which anyone can play mini golf, and then taken to the extreme imagination of someone that can put on a VR headset and be outside of something that they can never go to a park down the road or to a Disney World to be part of something that big. And I just remember playing against an actual person. Every once in a while I'll get in. The cool thing is that you can match make with people. I really enjoy that because I didn't have to wait for some friend to just click a button. Half the time they're all cool with you. I've been beaten. There's some really good players out there, but I remember I played one person at the space thing, and we had the best time because it was so difficult that we were just laughing the whole time. It was amazing.
It's like I think bocce is the game. It's fun to play with friends because no one could ever conceivably be good at it, and therefore it's terrifically funny just to laugh at each other.
Yeah,
it gives you a really fun dynamic.
Yeah, because you can literally hit a golf ball and happen to get a hole in one. Like if you hit the slightest little turn and all of a sudden it happens to go in that one time, or you hit an obstacle that you've never even meant to hit, it goes in. I think there was one, I don't know if it's a space one or not, but it just goes down a long hill, and it might be the space one. But I just remember he just smacked it, and I go, "Whoa, you're going out of the bounce," and he just landed almost right next to the hole. I'm just like, what? That's nuts.
I love it.
Yeah. So
that's terrific.
Yeah. So talking about how extreme it is, I think you all really did a beautiful job with the Labyrinth. I played it for a couple hours last night. And you want to kind of start about talking about the idea, because I know the whole concept was based from an actual movie that once was out, and if you want to kind of touch base about that.
Yeah, so there was always a want to work with other sort of creatives, get on licensed areas. There's something we often talk about, which Don, who is our sort of art director, brought aboard, was wish fulfillment. The idea that with VR you can go anywhere and do anything, and because the game is in this really nice place of just being a relaxed environment to talk to people, you don't have to focus on, okay, are you running away from people, are you scared, are you what's the emotion? We're just going, nope. You get to just enjoy being in a place that you really want to be in, as sort of almost a background to just a good experience with friends. And so really, we wanted to bring in places that we've always thought, oh God, I really want to go there. I want to see it. I want to be a part of it. And Labyrinth is the most shockingly good fit for this game, which is bizarre because it is a film that, God, I'm not sure if it did well upon release, but it's a fun cult movie. And
it's a fun cult movie.
I really enjoy it. But also you don't go to someone and go, oh my God, I just watched Citizen Kane. What other life-changing films are there? Labyrinth. But you look at it and you see it and it's so magical and weird and a trip of a film, and you go, oh, I really would love to go to there. And so it's just excellent, we can do that. Get in. And so we have people who, scary looking people who, not really, they're all lovely, whose job it is to, talk to, I kid, they're all really, really nice and down to earth. All the best deals apparently are done with a smile. Who knew?
Yeah.
And, they reached out and we were talking, and sort of the rest is history. And we got to, have a lot of back and forth because they were, really enjoyably quite interested in making sure that, the world of Labyrinth is protected and we're looking after it and doing right by it, which is really good. That's what you want. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want people who just go, oh yeah, whatever. You want people who care.
For sure.
And so that was really, really, I only have praises to sing of the Henson team. And so that was really, really fun. What people who are really familiar with the film will probably know is that it's not, a recreation of the labyrinth.
Mm-hmm.
This course is so many times bigger. I remember importing like the pirate level, the tourist trap, the first level in the game,
Yeah.
and comparing it size wise. And I'm like, oh wow, this is much bigger.
Oh, it
It's
is, yeah.
10 times the size. But it's still minuscule compared to the real thing because that would be dull. What we've done is try and do like a theme park version where you get to see most things, and they're all there, and you get that nice easy progression where, okay, the next place is right there, but you get to still see everything you want to, bar one or two things we could not figure out how to fit in.
Yeah.
Because we still only have 18 holes.
Very true. And so with the DLCs, there's no hard mode with them, is there? Or is there? I thought there was.
Yeah, there's a hard
yeah.
mode. So the hard mode, this one, I don't want to spoil it, but it takes one of the scenes we couldn't fit in to the theme park, sort of the easy version, and we've sort of dressed the whole hard version as that scene. So it was a great way of sort of paying a nod to a really awesome scene, really quite different from everything else in the film. But because it was so different, it's like, well, how do you put this here? Because effectively they, leave the labyrinth for a bit for one scene and then come back. You can't fit that in.
Yeah.
So being able to then just sort of sprinkle that over the whole hard mode was a lot of fun. So we sort of have 36 holes, but the easy mode and the hard mode, they sort of have to be very, very similar. We can't do two completely different levels, because it turns out just not to be fun, because people still want to be in. Sometimes people just don't enjoy hard mode because it's too brutal. Some people don't enjoy easy mode.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that everyone still gets to be in that place.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I didn't even know if the hard mode unlocked yet or not, or if I was still playing. I was too busy. I spent like the first hour literally walking around, and like I played the first thing, and I noticed I was looking for all the lost balls, and I'm like, gosh dang it, I need to just play the course through, and then look at everything, and then I got like halfway done with the course, and then I for some reason saw a beaten path and started going through the maze, and I'm just like, I was in the maze for the longest time ever, and I'm like, is there anything even in here? So I don't know if you can spoil anything, but is there something hidden in any side of the maze, or was I just walking around pointlessly?
I desperately wanted to put like a secret hidden ball or something in the maze. Unfortunately, due to various reasons, the maze just ends up being a labyrinth. It is solvable. It's a whole solvable maze. And there was lots of talk about possibly having it so that if you solve the maze without flying out, if you walk from start to finish, you unlock a special putter or something. Things that, for various technical reasons, we couldn't get into the game. But there was so many different attempts to put something in the maze. In the end, we're like, you know what? People love playing hide and seek in this game. They're going to have the best time.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. They play hide and seek in the game?
Yeah. If you pop into the options menu, you can turn off the name tags over people, so you just see their faces. And people play hide and seek, with various sort of rules. You see people talking about it all the time, going, oh, we finished playing golf, and then me and my daughter, played hide and seek in the level. And I'm just like, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that. I never even thought of that, and I didn't know you could turn off your name tag.
Yeah, you can turn off all those little sort of overlay things, which is good. Some people want them, some don't.
Be a crazy one.
I feel like it's almost too hard though. It is, like I said, it's big. There is no way to effectively search. I don't know how you'd do it. But...
Yeah, you'd have to be like, okay, you can only go through holes 1 to 3, and the next time we play it's 3 through 6, then 6 through 9, and then go from there, because that thing is massive.
Yeah, it's absolutely giant. I think I might end up playing that with a few friends, actually. Try to play hide and seek, but limit the area.
Yeah, you have to. And with my freaking ball looking mind, as soon as I went in the house, I'm like, why are they putting me in a house and not on hole 1? I go, there's a ball in here. There's definitely a ball in here. And
there was that house is a funny old thing because it starts in the house and the house sort of, and she steps out the window and is in the labyrinth, or sort of the French doors, whatever they are.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're like, well, we've got to do that. You got to have that reveal moment where you just
Yeah.
stand around the house, and the house is really sparsely decorated. And we do not have, sometimes, you might think, oh, okay, we might use a texture and have a wallpaper pattern or something just to break it up. It's like, nah, this has got to look really basic so that when you first step out and you see the labyrinth, you're just like,
Yeah.
oh my God, oh my God.
Oh yeah, it's definitely massive, and like when you jump out and you can see all the holes go through, I'm just like, oh wow, this is nutty. And usually like I'll walk through every hole, and I found myself using the trigger thing. I'm like, because the more I play, I'm like, oh dang, just got to get there. But the first time I did a full walkthrough to really see the artwork that was done, especially each hole you see like a certain character. I really like that a lot.
It's the first time we've done something like that with animated characters. We had some animated sheep in Coyote Valley, which was the last of the free courses,
Mm-hmm.
and really one of my favorites, despite me not being involved like at all. This is the first time we really, really pushed having characters, because it really is the characters in the film add so much, and so it would feel a bit too dead and empty, I think, without them.
Yeah. Definitely that was a good touch for sure. And I believe it's hole 2 or 3 where you have the goblin type character walking around. He's like moving back and
Hoggle.
forth. Yeah, he's walking around making all sorts of noise. I thought if I got too close to him, he would smack my ball away. And so I kind of avoided him.
There was a lot of, it's one of those, the problems with making anything creative or doing a big project is this so many things where you look at it and you go, oh, I really wanted to be able to do that, and you end up having to, for whatever reason, not be able to. There's, especially with the animated characters, there was a bit where we wanted them to look at you when you got close to make it feel a bit more alive, but then that sort of programming in their nature less animated, so one takes away from the other, and you're trying to strike that balance, and it's a whole thing. And so in the end, we had to make sure they had something to do so that they could do their animations. They could ignore you without you feeling like, they're not really there.
Yeah.
Because also, it turns out when sort of a chest high goblin fellow stares at you, it's terrifying. Who would have thought?
Yeah, and there's like things as well. Like I thought like I could interact with some more of them. Like there's a teapot. I was like, what if I break the teapot? Or like when he was hanging, the creature that was hanging upside down. I thought I could slice him down with my thing. I was just like, what can I do? And I'm just like, I wanted to slice him down so bad, but I was like, I get it. They're trying to. I think if I mess with it too much, it might crash the game or something like that. But I'm just like, there's things I was like, I want to chaw him down.
There's always that bit more that you really want to be able to interact with. Give out a shout out to a completely different company, but a company that really has nailed this in VR is Alchemy Labs. They did sort of like Job Simulator, and they really nailed that whole everything is completely interactable.
Yep.
At no point will you find something and not be able to mess with it. And it's like it doesn't translate to mini golf, sadly. So we can't really do that, but absolutely 100% respect for those guys for figuring out that the one thing you want to do in VR is touch everything.
Exactly. That one thing that thing that if you're in the hardware store with like your grandpa and he's like, don't touch anything, and you're just sitting there just like oh yeah, that's sharp. Oops, I'm bleeding now. Now you gotta go in there and throw anything you want. It's almost like the bar fight, VR bar fight. That's the same little thing where it's just like you get to push the limits, things that you cannot do in the civilized world that we live in here. But I do want to talk about Labyrinth on like some of the certain holes that like is kind of new, and like most people this can be a spoiler. How much maybe a little taste into it, but I think the most favorite one I had, and also we'll get to my least favorite hole, and for a reason why. Well, my favorite hole was the staircase, and so I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna talk too much about it, but that's my favorite hole.
That the staircase, or the Escher room, is what we were calling it in production. It was a it was both like a pain, but also like the most fun
Yeah.
getting that
The
getting that
physics.
room to work. And if you've played it, you'll understand exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And there's lots of little things too, like getting the shadow of the ball, which like in so many games is actually just sort of effectively a small image, a small sprite,
Mm-hmm.
because we cannot afford to do shadows on these headsets.
Uh-huh.
It's like, oh, well, we got to make sure that lines up with the ground now.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the sparks that fly out of the hole if you get a hole in one. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, those have to work and not break any of the other ones in the game.
Yeah.
And also, quite interestingly, which you would think being sort of a computer game, you can completely break the rules of everything. But
Right.
at least in how we set up Walkabout, it has to work. Like it has to not physically be able to exist, and that I could have something flying not supported. That's fine. But we can't have, say, a room that's bigger on the inside than it is on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
You could potentially secretly do that by warping a player and making it look like consistently, but
Yeah, there has to be a load screen.
You can walk through walls, you can go giant. It has to all fit together.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the more difficult tasks of this level was going, okay, well, there is a staircase that goes in infinite dimensions in every direction, upside down, left to right, backwards and front. And also it has to physically fit in this castle.
Yeah.
And if you're in flying mode, you can fly through the walls, it'll make you feel sick, but go right ahead. And if you do, you'll see that at certain points between like the outer labyrinth, which, curves down and around and nothing is straight, and the staircase environment, there's like centimeters between some of them where they brush up so close, where we've really tried to push it as far as we can, going, no, this place is infinite, and, which, it obviously isn't, but
Yeah.
it gives you the feeling of it, but also doesn't intersect with anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was a really, really fun challenge, getting it to feel right.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you go looking, you'll find the edges of it, but getting it to just squeeze in because it has to physically fit.
Mm-hmm.
Effectively, if you had, I don't know, like $1 billion, you could build this in real life, this level. You could go and construct it. So I don't know what these guys go into space for. They could be building this in real life. Just saying, they can and should do that.
Yeah, I don't even know how, because I know the first time when I walked into it, I looked at it, and I'm just like, I couldn't even. First of all, I was like, "Where's the hole?" And then I was just like, I kept on seeing the yellow flag, and I'm just like, "Is that it?" And so I went over there, and I'm like, I look back, and I'm just like, "What in the world am I supposed to do here?" And so I just hit it, and all of a sudden it dinks it, and then gravity just took it, and it came back, and it flew away. I'm just like, oh, so don't hit it as hard as possible. It's a baby touch. And then
light feathery touch.
Yeah, and the physics of like, you got the hole right here, and I had the ball like right here, and all I had to do was tap it in. Just tap it in. And since I didn't know how to upward hit it, it just barely goes around and rings it. I'm just like, that's my...
Yeah, it's impossibly difficult because you're suddenly like, wait a minute. I have been training this whole game to do it this completely different way.
Exactly.
And now you're expecting me to learn a whole new thing.
Exactly. And then, so I really enjoyed that one. And then my least favorite one, not because, it was just because I think every single time I've done it, I've finished it once. And I guarantee you know what it is. It's the 18th hole. And the only reason why I despise it is because right before you hit it, you have a little crack that you don't think you'd ever go into it, that you would never fit a ball. I went into it 4 times in a row, back to back.
Oh no!
Back to back. And I'm just like, what am I? It's perfectly finding it, and then I had it in such an awkward spot that I couldn't even shoot it to the hole. It was like barely going. I'm just like, oh wow. There's in that first or second ledge, there is a hole. You can punt it through and get a hole in 2 or a hole in 1 if you're. I've seen people get hole in 1s on that hole, and no way.
There are people, and shout out to our Discord. If you love the game, join the Discord because They're a really nice bunch, and they absolutely figure out how to hole in one every hole. And when we
I
design
want to be
levels,
that
we don't.
person, but I can't.
I can't be that person. I play this game like every day looking for bugs, and I'm still terrible at it.
Man, it frustrates me so much. I got so mad because if I mess up on the first hole, I back out and I'll restart. And I still not have yet got a hole in one on the first hole on that one. I have got a hole in one on the one with the green portal. I'm trying to not give away too much, but get people excited to go play it. I got a hole in one on that one, and then one other one. But other than that, I think my best score so far, just because there's some holes that I'm just like it'll loop around it, is a -2, and I tried to do better. I got a
That's
-2.
pretty solid. I mean, I can if I sit down and I'm in practice mode, I can get some holes like really solid. But we've been playing this level for 9 months now, and if I'm playing through a whole game, at some point I will fall on my face, and that par sort of counts going out the window.
Yeah,
but then in practice mode, I'll try that hole and I'll be fine. And so I'm like, okay, it's not the hole. The problem is me.
It's not the hole. It's definitely me. Yeah, they're the one with the I was talking about where I thought the what is the goblin? I keep calling him a goblin. What's his name?
Huggle.
Huggle. Okay. People are gonna crucify me for that. I wanted to watch the movie because I don't think maybe when I was a kid I watched it, but I wanted to rewatch it, just kind of get the feel of the characters that I was actually seeing, because I visually remember them. But there's a crack on that hole that you want to go around to try and swoop around. I've hit the crack every single time, and I've just
yeah.
Why is that crack there? Who put that crack there? You put the crack there.
I did. I did the whole borders. It was me.
Oh my gosh. So now every time I hit this crack and it ruins my chance for a hole in one or hole in two, I'm just going to be cursing a storm just like Edward. Yeah, definitely have hit that. And so one thing I do like to talk about, since, this is pretty much the podcast is a VR Havoc, which is an esports team, is the esports concept of mini golf, which a lot of people say it's a basic fun game, but there are those people that you were talking about that literally go out of their way to get hole-in-ones and stuff like that. So is there any tournaments that are coming up? I know you said you were going to look up some, or how does it even work? How does a tournament even happen in mini golf?
So there's a few tournaments that happen. Quite a few run on our Discord because, like I said, it's just full of really cool people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was looking them up and I'm like, oh, they're all there on our Discord. My link is go to the Discord.
Yeah.
And so they'll have tournaments where, it's sort of a knockout style tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever gets, to the end with I was going to say the most points. No, the least points. That's how you do it in golf.
Yeah. I was about to say, I was like,
wins and gets the respect and adoration of the Discord and all the developers. We always sort of look in on them and go, oh my God, how are they so good?
Oh, so they're legit, and so I've always wanted to know what the settings, I would really want to, I might even have to reach out into the Discord and talk in a certain section to talk about, I know there is abilities to change your loft of your putter and then the power of your putter. I have it maxed out to 100%, and I think I have a 15-degree loft on mine. But I think I'm
15 degrees too. That one won't make much of a difference. When you hit, it's the power one does matter, but that's more just sort of personalization, because some people swing with their wrists. Personally, I think the best method is lock up your shoulders, swing with your hips. That way it's most likely to be consistent.
Yeah,
it's golf. And we fun sneaky fact, when you do the hit, we don't include any vertical acceleration sort of in the Z or Y axis, depending on how you measure these things. We just keep it horizontal. If you go off a ramp, that ball, it's gone. But when you hit it, you could sort of try and get your putter sort of on a weird angle, and it will still just go horizontally.
Mm-hmm.
Because while it's technically slightly less realistic, no one's ever trying to chip it up, and it just introduced a whole bunch of bugs with physics.
Yeah.
So what really matters is just aim and how strong you are in terms of swinging. And I mean, just based on how physics works, what really matters is not the direction that the putter goes for the ball, but what angle the putter is facing.
Yeah.
Um, that is what matters the most in terms of aiming. So what you need to really be looking out for is what rotation you're holding the putter in your hands.
Mm-hmm.
That is my secret tip to you.
Yeah, and I
and everyone else listening.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Yeah, we do have a couple people in here, like Mateo from 311. I had him on here. He does the news. He probably even played the game on the day it even came out to talk about it, because I know he talked about it when it was getting ready to come out. And, some person that's missing, that is not doing their lecture and watching this instead. And then someone said hide and seek sounds fun. So there's people definitely watching it that, they take that tip in and like, is there any pros out there? I want to know, like, if we have anyone that's like, oh, they don't even know what they're talking about, like his tip, and I'll have to look at that, because I know that sometimes if you hit it at weird at an angle, it kind of, I don't get where I want. I'm just like, man, I definitely need to improve on it, because I want to be able to hole in one every hole. But now with these things you make, is every hole capable to get a hole in one, or is there some that are just physically impossible?
I mean, it's funny, no matter, we don't design necessarily everyone to be a hole in one. We do try and keep it for a lot of them. We, earlier days, we had like a checklist of things when designing a level. Now it's been enough. There's enough practice that everyone on the level design team is really the people designing the holes, they've really, got it down to an art form.
Yeah.
And so for a while we tried to make sure that, say, like 15 out of the 18 are hole in oneable. But it's funny because I'll say, oh, this one, impossible to hole in one. And then a player will come in and they'll be like, well, if you swing with this amount of strength and aim for this spot on the carpet, and they'll do it. And consistently, it will bounce off random things in the area and they'll get a hole in one. And it is the most incredible thing to watch. It's like watching mini golf as an art form. And every time I'm making, we're making levels now, we're always going, okay, what are people going to bounce off of here? Like, not in a sense of we want to stop them or, anything. We just know that I'm going to put down a chair. Yeah. Like near a hole, and I'm like, this is going to be instrumental to someone one day.
Yeah, that's nutty, because unlike that person that can bounce it off all the right things, I bounce off all the wrong things, and that's my biggest problem.
Are you on the dev team? That's the rest of us too.
Yeah, you're all testing it like, yeah, this is not impossible. Then you just get one of the people that are advocate pro players on this, and. But yeah, I'd love to see more tournaments. Like, I would love to get into and to see exactly where I rank at, and also like the structure of it as well. Like, even like doing it like a real golf match, which is, obviously mini golf will be a lot quicker than an actual match. Even in VR, be a lot quicker. But usually golf is structured to like 3 to 4 matches, and it's the best out of 3 and 4 matches is the score of that. So you minus it compared to that as well. I like to see. But another mode that I don't know if like I would really like to see, and I played it on like a mobile game. I have not seen VR do it yet, but is racing. Race
to the end. Everyone putts at the same time.
Yes. I really want to see that. I'm like, why is this not here yet? I just want to just go at it and just speed golf this.
There's definitely a few different game modes that we've talked about that we want to introduce. I think there's actually a new addition to the team who is specializing in making sure we get different game modes, because it's once you've got a really good game that everyone's been playing, as soon as you mess with that, like as an option, not as on purpose, it suddenly unlocks so many new ways of doing it. I love the idea of just racing through, like everyone starts at hole 1. Whoever ends hole 18 first is the winner.
Exactly.
I really that is one of the ones I know, it's been talked about by the devs, and it's, I desperately want it.
Yeah, same here. I would so play that 10 times more, because I do get on and I play with people. It's a fun time, especially just to meet new people. But when you bring on that racing mode, it's not me being nice and talking to you. It's me beating you. I'm going at it. It's competitive.
It's Mario Kart. It's like, no. You're going down, and I hate you now.
Yeah, exactly.
But in a fun way.
In a fun way, I'm going to smash you.
Yeah, there's a couple other things that for anyone who plays the game on Steam, one of the things that Steam VR allows you to do is just change the scale of the world, just a little bit in case your eyes are slightly different, all that to make it feel right. And you can crank that to an extreme. You can get it so that a golf ball is half a meter wide and you are an ant on the level. And it's just a
Wow.
feature built into Steam.
Uh-huh.
And so anyone who's playing via Steam VR, you can play what I like to call maxi golf, where you are tiny and it's impossibly hard because it turns out your strokes are not nearly as strong when you are this big, and you've got to try
So the
some of
ball's
the holes at
huge.
that point.
So the balls.
Yeah, the balls are giant, and I'm just like, love it.
And so, but even though you're like basically smacking like so you can smack it as hard as you want, and that ball's barely gonna move.
Well, you can get it, but sometimes there's a one where there's a jump or a hill, and it's become impossible.
Wow.
And so I know that's one of the game modes I keep bringing up when we discuss game modes. I'm like maxi golf, where you are tiny, because it's ridiculously funny, and also the world looks enjoyably different. I think other ones we've discussed, like mirror mode, where you flip the courses. There's which suddenly makes it a completely different course.
Yeah.
Somehow there's something to do with mirroring where your brain goes, it's new.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So like talking about different headsets and stuff, from PC VR and then VR, the standalones. I know that the Oculus is at 90 hertz, but is obviously you crank that up more with PC VR because it's capable, right? Or you keep that at 90 hertz as well.
I believe it's 90 hertz. I'm not going to commit to that because last time I checked, it's 90 hertz, but we do, try and, squeeze a bit out. I know on the PC VR, because we don't really change a lot, the only real difference is that we don't LOD, which is where, if you're far enough away from something, it'll swap it out with a version of that model, which has less detail.
Yeah, yeah.
So that it should look the same, but it's not as computationally difficult to render, so we can have more detail.
Yeah.
If you're just teleporting around, you'll never notice it. But if you're flying around, you can see things and get slightly more detailed. Pretty sure on the PC version, at least for a while now, the levels have gotten much, much more complicated. You didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And in God mode, you didn't have to disable anything. And I think the other thing we do on PC is just crank up the render resolution so everything looks ridiculously crisp and sharp, because it's like, well, we've got all this overhead because, the game was designed first and foremost, for, like not, mobile hardware.
Yeah.
And so we can just crank it up. Although it does occasionally lead to a fun bug where someone might play it on Steam VR and they might have a powerful computer, and in Steam VR, you can also change your render like percentage, say like make it 200 or 300%, and then that multiplies by our already super upscaled one. And suddenly they're trying to render the game like not 16K, like 32 or 64K. And their computer is spluttering and they're going, why is my computer struggling on a mini golf game designed for mobile?
Because you're doing
and
it
we're
yourself.
going, turn down the render resolution. We're already doing that for you.
So all the detail in both versions of the game are exactly the same? Because I know some other games, if they're made in PC VR first, their main push is PC VR. They typically make certain maps have say for a building has a billboard, it would actually say a logo on it, compared to they would probably just take out the logo in a Quest headset, So they're basically the same thing.
It's the same thing, especially because if we were going say for a hyper realistic style, we'd probably be able to push it a bit more. But as we're going for a really strict, and I'm going to say low poly, but it's funny because we aren't using textures, all of our detail has to be physically constructed into the mesh.
Yeah.
We're pushing way more polys than most other games on the Quest.
Wow, yeah.
Generally they're like, oh, keep a view to 100,000 polygons or less. And we're going, haha, 600,000 polygons, you say?
Yeah.
Because, we have a really simple material. We aren't doing any extra stuff. So we can put that sort of processing power into the mesh. But because it's such a defined art style, we couldn't change that so much for the PC one. because we've already defined what that is. So we just go, all right, crank up the render resolution, make it look really
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, exactly. At least they get that. And have you heard from in the Discord or just in any instance that someone has said that the game runs like has like a pro player that's getting all these hole in ones? Are they on PC VR or are they on Quest? Like, does it matter? Like, does the game physically run smoother? Or like, I know when I'm looking down my eyesight at a long putt, that sometimes I get still like I see the grain, and I wonder if they can. It's more crisp to them, and it makes it more visually
It's
appealing.
it's probably a lot more crisp to them in terms of grain, but the physics all runs the same across
Mm-hmm.
all of them, because all the physics runs on your headset. Um, it's just we're only just sort of transmitting to the other headsets where the ball is. Occasionally we're just letting the animation sort of interpolate, but it's running on your headset. One of the reasons the game feels so great is because it's one physics calculation. It is a ball, and
Yeah.
we just say sphere collider, which is like the easiest collision to calculate because we just say, hey, look at the center. If it's within a certain distance from that, it's colliding.
Mm-hmm.
And we only run one at a time. And so we crank it because the game is more GPU intensive. So we have all that CPU headroom. So we crank, I think we're running at like 1,000 times a second. We do the physics calculation
Mm-hmm.
as compared to say, some games it's 30 times a second because they've got to do a lot of things. But we're going,
Yeah.
people are hitting this ball hard. If you do it 30 times a second, it might have passed through an object,
Yeah.
because it might be on one side and then 1/30th of a second it's on the other side, and the physics engine doesn't ever see it hit, and so it just goes through. Where because we're running it so intensely fast, we can. It's part of the reason why the physics feels really solid because
Mm-hmm.
we're running it ridiculously hard. But that is the same on PC and sort of mobile, so you won't see tournament difference between them. It'll look a bit nicer on PC, and sometimes depending on like what you're using. I mean, with tracking, it's harder to. We had this thing where we had to make sure that the putter won't hit the ball unless you're looking at the putter because the headset tracks what's in front of it.
Yeah.
And so if you were to look away, the putter might sort of go wild in the background because it loses the tracking.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've had to make it go, okay, it can see the putter, you can hit the ball now. And so
that's
some
cool.
people will look
I've
to the
noticed that,
side
yeah.
to try and line up. They'll try and line up the shot to the side, and they go,
Mhm.
well, for some reason I swing and it doesn't hit. And we're going, no, that's important because it wouldn't hit properly
Yeah.
because of hardware limitations. So
Mhm.
it's one of those annoying things. Future headsets, may one day fix this, but playing with what the hardware can do now, we've made it so if you're not looking at the ball,
Mhm.
it won't hit it because the physics will be terrible.
Yeah, definitely makes sense, and I noticed that as well. And there's also a button to turn it on and off too, right? I thought there was a
Yeah,
button.
one
to
of the
trigger,
things
right?
you can do is called grip to putt, which
Mhm.
is where you have to sort of hold down the grip button. And if you're not doing that, the sort of putter becomes a ghost, and which is I think is awesome because it means I get to sort of practice my swing, see how it feels like 3 or 4 times, and then
Mhm.
go, okay, yep, cool. Some people don't do that. They're all monsters.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, I can't live without that option.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, there's sometimes where I'll just be like looking for balls, for instance, and I'll just be like, I've hit it. I'm just like, well, gosh dang it! Like, I'm just like looking at like, where's my ball at? And I've hit it before, and it's definitely a saver to where you actually have to be focusing. But like I know you with all the lost balls and stuff. Is there other custom designed putters?
Yeah, so when you go to play the hard mode, instead of there being sort of 18 hidden balls, we have what's called a fox hunt, which is just a treasure hunt.
Uh-huh.
And so you'll find, on say the level Shangri-La, we have it so you're finding mooncakes because it is, set during, I think the Spring Autumn Festival.
Uh-huh.
And so you find a mooncake, and then it'll give you a clue as to where the next one is. And the more familiar you are with the course, the easier you'll find it. And when you get all of them, it's not necessarily 18; it might be say 12 or 13. And sometimes they tell a story, like the original Gothic, which is set in the castle. You're meant to be meeting someone who is sort of hinted at being Dracula, and you're going around and sort of collecting sort of party favors or something. And at the end, they reward you by giving you their putter. And so we have stylized putters for each level. And so the first one looks like a sort of a pirate saber with a golf club at the end. The Sweetopia one looks like it's made of candy. What's another really? The cherry blossom one looks like this beautiful sort of Japanese wooden putter. And yeah, we have a lot of different. So each level also has a custom putter, and you can play with whichever ones you want.
Yeah, I haven't got one yet because I didn't know that. Like now, that blows my mind. That I'm gonna have to go like look for that because I knew about the lost balls because I stumbled upon it, but I did not know. I was like, where am I gonna get a new putter? So yes, I'm definitely gonna have to go and get my first putter and play with that. And so with also customization, with the new update as well, you allowed personalized customization with your character, right?
Yeah, so we pushed the character customization out, I think, with Babylon. God, someone's going to correct me on that. And so originally, if you look up, I think the original trailer for the game, you look sort of like a gray blank with sunglasses and a hat, and no mouth. But then we expanded the team, and all the avatars pieces are made by one of our modelers who also does the characters, called Emma, and she's amazing. The stuff she can do. So she modeled all the labyrinth characters. She modeled the sheep, and she also does environmental modeling, but she's now a bit more sort of specialized. But she also does the avatars. So now we've got your heads. You can change this. All the skin, your eyes, the full avatar thing. And for labyrinth, we added a few more things like David Bowie's hair and a few more sort of hairstyles. And we also put in like just full preset faces, the heads of the characters, because they do not fit in our avatar system.
Yeah.
Just went, you know what? You can just choose these guys. There's no other options. Just you can be Hoggle, go be Hoggle, or Ludo, or Sir Didymus.
Oh, so you can actually be the characters if you wanted to?
Yeah, I mean, it's still a floating head, so you do look a bit like a Muppet.
Yeah.
But that feels pretty in theme.
So where do you go to put this on? I haven't found that yet.
So if when you go to the shack, it'll have sort of a picture of your face and your name, generally your, say, Oculus username if you're doing it on the Quest 2. If you click on that, you can change your name. Okay. You can also make new profiles. So in case you're a family who shares a headset, you can have a profile for Jeff and a profile for Sarah. And then, when you're in that, it'll also give you all of the avatar options.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to play with
there's loads.
Yeah.
Definitely, it's really fun playing a level as Ludo because, of course, you got to put on the voice. Definitely have a lot of fun with that one.
Oh yeah, that's got to be fun for sure. Especially playing the hide and seek. Like you could literally match up and like act like a character hiding that's within the actual course that you're in.
Try and just line up your head movements with the animated character. Yeah,
exactly. And so I know the last thing I wanted to talk about was the ability to went from 6 players to 8 players. And like, how do you play with 8 people in one thing? Like, is it like
it takes a while?
Does it?
It just takes ages. It's one of the things where we do want the race mode, or the thing where you all play on the hole at the same time. But then you will have to wait to go to the next hole. There are definitely other game modes that we are working on. We've talked about that in the past, so I'm happy confirming it. So that's definitely on. At least it's stuff we're working on. But yeah, otherwise it's just a long time. But it was so often. I think it might have been 5 players previously, and there are times where I'm like, oh my god, guys, there's a new level out to my friends, and they're going, oh come on, let's go play. And then we get in and I'm like, oh my god, there's like one person who can't make it. And that was just like, oh no. But when you make a room, you can change it. So
oh, really?
It currently defaults to sort of 8 players, but you can actually just sort of click settings and choose how many players. So you can have it just be 2 people, and anyone else wouldn't be able to get into the room. So you can change that. And we're still tuning that thing. Basically, anything that doesn't affect how your game performs, we feel comfortable sort of trying to tune, get it right, feel what is good for the players. We're not changing the physics. We're not changing the whole designs. We're not touching those because people put so much time into getting those right. I think we've done that like twice, really, really early on the game's development, like years ago.
Yeah.
But definitely not anymore. Because people have really, really practiced, and if we changed it all, it's sort of not being nice to them. And thankfully, the physics is great, so we don't need to change.
Oh yeah, I mean, so far, I have not seen a thing that's like physically that is like broken or anything like that. Obviously there's some courses that do some wacky things, but that's a one-off of the 18 holes that are part of the course. Like the instance, like the staircase, like that's a one-off that you all went really like to the wall to like, yeah, let's make this really beautiful, this one-off thing, to where obviously that hole, even though it probably took a lot of time to figure it out, like it's still simple enough and cool enough to figure out to get a hole in one.
Yeah.
But if you hit the hole, it bounce out.
It can if you hit it too hard, it can hit the edge and bounce right
I
out.
wonder if it did.
That it will do it. It'll do the physics properly. It's which is fun and also amazingly infuriating, especially when your ball goes to the hole and it just sort of like curves around it, but it doesn't slow down enough, and it just sort of goes whoop and slides away. And I'm like, oh, you monster!
Yeah,
I've had that happen, but
Yep.
it's accurate, which isn't. I can't complain too much because that's what it's meant to be doing.
Yeah, I was playing it so many times just to kind of get a better round every single time, and those classic the ring arounds,
It's funny.
painful.
You were mentioning with the staircase. I believe that is the first time we've ever changed the physics
Yeah,
in the game. Everything else is like, in Curity Valley, we introduced the wind mechanic, which I don't think we've used a lot of since, but it's something that is in our back pocket. We can pull out for certain levels, but that wasn't changing the physics. We just said, okay, there's a force in this area acting on the ball, pushing it a bit more in that direction. But otherwise, every single hole is exactly the same. And then we get to sort of hole 17 of the labyrinth, and we're like, bye, physics.
yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, there's only been a couple times that I've noticed like certain game changes. It's almost like in the space one where you spin around the top and you actually can reduce your stroke by hitting the rings. That's another thing that I've noticed, and I think there's a couple of wind ones. I like the wind course. That was pretty fun because the first time I didn't even notice that. I just thought it was an effect until I hit my ball and it blew my ball off the
And
thing.
it goes,
And I'm just
Yeah.
like, well, all right, now I know. Let's restart the course to get a better score.
yeah, it's pretty fun. It's funny. There's a bit of a rumor that people believe that the space one, the gravity is less, and I'm like, no, it's exactly the same. But because you're in space, you think it's going to be less, and so you feel like it's less. And I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, it's exactly the same as everywhere else in the game.
Well, that I think that let's go ahead and say that's what is it called? Where a conspiracy. Let's leave this at a conspiracy, and I'm gonna believe this conspiracy too, because the only time you go to outer space in the labyrinth is hole 18th. You're kind of in a spacey type of scenery, and I can't tell you. I'll barely hit a rock, and that thing will bounce unbelievably everywhere. So you're telling me that the gravity is not different? I think let's leave it as a conspiracy, because I definitely believe that, because I played the space one many times, and if you hit off a single rock, that thing is gone.
Yeah, it's the problem when you have to drop down from a height; it gets too fast.
Yeah.
It was fun though,
physics.
tuning the gravity for hole 17. There'd be times where you might be in practice mode and you played that bit of hole 17, and then you go, oh, I'm not going to get into the hole. I'm going to do something else. And you start a hole and your ball will go and fly away because it was still thinking about gravity from hole 17.
Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's it. That's going to be nutty.
There's lots of little fun things to catch. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, I bet it was. And
to
like
play
I
around
said,
with.
it was a well-built DLC, and it's not even that bad price. You are selling this for $2.99, which is very doable. That's a cheaper than a Fortnite skin, kids. So go ahead and get in your parents' wallet and get the new DLC. But I do
It's cheaper than I think it's the same price of a single song on Beat Saber.
There you go. Who needs Beat Saber when you can play in the labyrinth and get lost like I did? I definitely
Labyrinth themed Beat Saber. Let's go.
Oh,
Dance Magic Dance. Let's go.
yeah, come on, Beat Saber, do that. But yeah, I definitely do want to see more esports. I definitely want to see a league, like an actual a week on of like you play. You have to record every match for like a duration of time for all of the maps, and then once you get into like the say the preliminary into the championship, that's when you start breaking into the DLCs that are a lot harder, or you find the courses that are harder to beat for the championship match. And so I anyone out there, I'll have to reach out to, like, you have
There's the Virtual Athletics League, I believe. God, yeah, Val. They
yeah,
did
Val.
a really
I know
good.
Val's doing
Yeah,
one.
they've done one. There's also one happening soon for charity, and the fact that uh, I should know this. This is important. It's for charity.
Yeah, yeah, I think I saw that actually. It is.
Yeah, so
It's
they. I mean,
not
they all.
virtual party league, is it?
It might be.
I thought it was
It
virtual
might.
reality party league VRPL. I thought they were doing it.
Yeah. Well, it's a really fun competitive game.
Hmm.
So there's always something happening. And it's really fun. Occasionally we do have to talk. Normally, we don't announce a level like until like 2 days before it comes out. Mist and Labyrinth are a bit unusual because they're done with IPs, and so there's more of a build up. Normally, we just drop a trailer and it's like in 2 days, El Dorado, have
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
But we do have beta testers, and so occasionally there'll be a tournament like the 3 days after a course releases, and we're like, hey guys, don't include the new course. We've got a bunch of people who have an unfair advantage because they've been playing it for a fortnight.
Exactly. I'm like, come on now. What a weird
Thankfully,
advantage.
everyone who runs these leagues, they're really just doing it out of the kindness of their heart, and they're all about playing fair. So thankfully, that's not too much of an issue.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to go look because I'd be definitely down to just get good at mini golf because my skills right now are not very good. So I definitely want to get better at that. And so you mentioned the DLC, like you already have one planned coming out soon, right?
Yeah, we have an announced one, which is
Yeah, announced
Mist,
one.
which has been great because I mean I have been obsessed with Mist since I was a kid, and so I think in a meeting, Lucas goes, "Oh yeah, we should talk to the folks at Cyan," and sort of I'm bouncing off the walls, screaming in the background, and they have been, of course, lovely, but we also have loads of courses on the go. I mean, we have courses planned for 2024.
Oh wow.
We are, it takes like from 9 months to a year to make a course. Thankfully,
Wow.
you aren't all working on it at the same time. It goes, we've been optimizing our sort of workflow. It goes, from one person to the next person, and they hand it off and start on the next one. And we have so many.
That's cool.
I believe fairly soon we're announcing like more. I think we're announcing something somewhat soon. Just be like, hey, this is one of the things we're working on. But yeah, we've got because I'm in the process. I'm someone in the middle. I'm after they finish the whole designs and before it gets to sort of the Unity integration team. So I'm just there in the middle,
Yeah.
like modeling. And there are so many
Just
courses
waiting.
where I'm yeah, there's so many courses where I'm done. I worked on them for like a while, and they've passed on down the track to other people, and I'm sitting here being like, I want to tell my friends, I want to be excited, be like, oh, I can't wait to play blank level with you.
Exactly.
And I'm just like, this won't come out for so long.
Have they ever scratched a whole entire course?
No, I know there's occasionally a course where we have to go back and really rethink about things, but there's never been a course where we've given up. I know there was one course which has been a bit of a pain. It's taken more optimization. It's one of those ones that occasionally it's broken that pass-through system, and we occasionally come back to and work on a bit. Well, not occasionally, it's always being worked on, but it's by different people, and we're just optimizing it. And when that course comes out, I am having like the fanciest champagne to celebrate.
Yeah.
But there's never been because the thing is, all the courses are fun.
Yeah.
I've never had someone like give me an idea earnestly going, I think this would be good, and have me go, no. Like every idea is fantastic, which is and when I say we've got courses planned till 2024, I mean those are ones we're actively working on. We have like a list of plans and ideas that'd keep us going for the next 30 years if
Awesome.
people were interested in playing for that long.
mini
Um,
golf is always going to be something
it
that
it
it's a
is.
simple, it's a very simple, easy game that you take little kids to go, and then you get as old as me, get almost 30 years old, and you still love it, and that's the
Yeah,
great thing about it.
it's still fun.
Yeah, and then when you put on VR and you get crazy maps like the labyrinth and stuff like that, like the courses like that, then you really get to be like, okay, this is the next level, which is definitely pretty cool. So I'm definitely excited for the future of that and more game modes for sure, like the speed one. I'm gonna keep burning that to your head. It's speed one. Once that comes, then I'm gonna be getting my Havoc team together. I'm like, we're gonna see who the fastest putt putter is.
Who is the fastest at mini golf?
Yeah, and so
I'll join you, and it won't be me. I can absolutely assure you.
yeah, and so was there any difference between using the word mini golf and putt putt, or is that just
It's a, I mean, in Australia, we don't have putt putt. I believe it's a licensed company. Like we don't have putt putt courses. I believe
really?
it's one of those things like Kleenex, where it's a brand, but people say, oh, I need a Kleenex, and they just mean like any tissue,
Got
or
yeah.
a Hoover for any vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was like a kid, people would talk about, oh, we went on holiday, we went to putt putt, and I'm going, the purple car from the kids games, the point and click adventure games for kids. Like what?
Yeah, yeah. I always knew it as putt putt, and so when people start, I mean, mini golf makes sense, but like putt putt is just maybe just easier for a little kid to be like, oh, I'm going putt putt, instead of mini
I
golf.
mean, it's a great name, but I believe it might be a licensed one.
Yeah, I definitely get to see that. But we're up on an hour here. But is there anything that you want to kind of announce or talk about before we wrap this up?
um, no, I mean, it's really funny. We talk about this a lot, and I guess it almost sounds disingenuous, but legitimately, the best part about working on this game is, all the people who play it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you work in games, and you can get some really, scary communities who get
Yeah.
really, really aggressive. But
Mm-hmm.
it's been it's almost scary that everyone who plays the game and who works on, is on the Discord, everyone I interact with, everyone's just really happy and everyone's really nice. And
Mm-hmm.
someone, might post on the Discord going, oh my God, this happened. And, we don't have to wait for a dev or a mod to go, here's the solution. And people just go,
Yeah.
hey, here it is. And people go, oh, thank you. And they'll then invite them to a game. And it's just so positive and
Mm-hmm.
nice. And it makes working on it really, really fun, because every time I'm working on something, I'm just like, oh my God, people are going to love this. People are going to be happy. And yeah, so just absolute shout out to anyone from, the Discord or anyone who plays the game. I legitimately spend so much time looking at it on Twitter and Reddit and Discord. It's easily the best part of game dev right now. It's just really seeing just that we are so lucky to have an awesome community.
Yeah, and I've been in there, and I thought I was part of it, and I was like, oh, why am I not in this yet? And I was just like, all right, we're getting in there. And yeah, like I saw the people even talk about the new update. Like there's one person that was just like, I'm crying, but like not like sad tears. Like, this is so beautiful, bringing this wonderful movie that I've seen into like real life, playing in a game. And so yeah, I definitely see what you're talking about there. And like even going into match-made things where I've had horrible experiences before playing match-made games where people cuss at you and it's like, why am I like, this is not a fun thing. But no, you go in there and like it's a blast. I have not had a blast with a single person at all, or had a toxic conversation with somebody. So I definitely see what you mean. Like, how can you be mad playing putt-putt? Like, obviously if you miss a bad putt, you cuss in your own head.
Everyone's so happy.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I've got one question for you.
Yeah.
So, a little prelude. When you're making a course, thinking about adapting IPs, it's not so much, the characters in the IP, although Labyrinth had some great ones. It's the location. The location has to be a character because that's what you're exploring. So Labyrinth is great because the character of the Labyrinth is so good. So I have to ask you, what would be your dream place, to visit VR in mini golf? What would be your dream IP?
Oh man, well that's a loaded question because
Yes.
I really like I said, like I talk about the space one because I thought I love space and that was a really beautiful one. But like just to kind of like go out the realm of like seeing a cool type of thing would be going through like a course of a zoo and you go through all the animals. It
Ooh.
would be pretty cool. Like one is like you have to shoot into like an elephant's trunk and it just like shoots it, like something like that. Or you like you see the monkeys and then you see the zebras and then like I don't know if you see how a hippo goes to the bathroom number two, but it literally flicks its tail like this. Like have funny moments where it's like at some moment it might do that, like that. I think that'd be amazing because I don't think the zoo's been done yet, and that's one thing that
It hasn't?
that really the spitballs my mind of something that'd be cool just because I like going to the zoo, even as I am now.
I mean,
So
me too.
yeah, and so I think that'd be a fun mini golf course. So,
Nice. I like it.
but
That's the first time I ask this question to everyone. Just like I talk to friends or people I meet, and I just go, okay, what would be your dream course?
mhm.
No one said zoo, and it's a really good answer.
Yeah, thank you. But has anyone ever asked you?
I mean, people and the problem is, I'm just like Bioshock. I would love to explore Rapture in VR, whether that comes from us
Hmm.
or if someone just wants to go and remake Bioshock into VR. I
Yeah,
just want to see it. It's Art Deco, it's underwater,
yeah.
you know. And then, of course, I'm a big nerd and I'm like Doctor Who or something,
Hmm.
I want to putt against a Dalek. Um, I either or Jumanji. I think that'd be fun. You do the first
Oh,
9 holes.
Jumanji be
In
fun.
the first film where it's in like the real world, like
Hmm.
the all the creatures are there, and you do the last 9 holes in the Jumanji world. Like there's so many places where I just want to go like be in it and
Hmm.
explore. And so I'm just like give them all to me. Let me do all of them. Give me all of the IPs.
Oh yeah, and like yeah, it's probably gotta be hard for you because you are the one making all these, so you get to see it beforehand. So you probably know the things that you already like. I want this idea. And you're like, I already made it. Let's release it. Let's push it out.
Thankfully, we haven't had a situation yet where we started an IP and adapted a level. I'm sure at some point there'll be a level we're working on. We'll team up with an IP and we'll go, we should merge these two, but it hasn't happened yet.
Hmm.
We weren't secretly making a labyrinth level before speaking to Hanson.
Yeah, like it'd be kind of like a cool idea for a DLC that like something happened where like it's almost like in Marvel with the multiverse where it's like the golf courses have merged to where you take bits and pieces of every single one and they're like tangled into it. You have like this massive like the castle mixed in with the shipwreck and with like the space all of a sudden, like something like that would be pretty interesting.
The we do talk about the walkabout, ultimate, the walkabout universe or the the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Walkabout Cinematic Universe.
Uh-huh.
We talk about this a lot because in our heads, all the worlds are connected except for the IP courses, which are their own thing.
Hmm.
And I'm just waiting for the day that like Matt Pat and Game Theory go, all right, internet, here's how it all works.
Exactly. Get some major lore into the mini golf world.
I mean, that I keep adding dead bodies to levels because I think it's funny. But in my mind, I'm like, no, this is adding to the lore.
Yeah, yeah, you're getting to a deeper, darker story of like this was at one point someone that got morphed to this putt putt place and he played the same course until he died.
Yeah, it's like the back rooms, but everywhere is secretly mini golf.
Yeah, that'd be a crazy world. That's all you could do is play mini golf. That's all you do.
Okay, well that's our sequel. Walkabout 2, the horror version.
The horror version, the deep dark secret of the behinds of what happens when you get trapped in mini golf.
Love
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I can see
10
that.
out of 10.
10 out of 10. But if anyone like I said this is Walkabout Mini Golf. You can see all the links in the description. Edward, I had a great time with you. I'm glad you came on here to kind of pick your brain, especially as the person that as I was playing this beautiful DLC, you were the one that also put a lot of the cracks that I mentioned before that I really wish they were not there. So thank you for that. So yeah, thank you for coming on.
Anytime. Well, I'll be back. I'm sure. I've had a
Oh,
wonderful time.
definitely gonna have you back on. Talk about more of mini golf and maybe updates that you have. Definitely, you're more than welcome. And then for most people that don't know, next week I believe it's still on. I'm gonna have Nerf. They're making a VR game, so I'll be having
Oh,
them on.
nice.
Yeah, Nerf's making a VR game, and so I was like, I grew up playing Nerf. It's almost like mini golf, you know. It's like it's something from my childhood. I'm just like, of course you're coming on to the podcast, so they're gonna be.
It's
on
a universal constant.
Exactly, and I'm just like thinking if I need to go buy some Nerf guns and like just shoot it at them, and they might not think it's funny at all, but I'm gonna have a blast doing it. So.
Oh, I'm sure they get it all the time. They'll laugh.
Oh yeah, for sure. So next Monday, same time as always. Edward, once again, thank you everyone. Catch you all later.